Welcome. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the live. I know I'm late, y'all. I know I'm late. We just had the most powerful group coaching session that we've had in months, and we were running a bit over. I was running my mouth. The community was sharing their perspective. So come on in. I know it's a bit late, but we want you here. You're welcome. We're talking about why your 5 year plan can be costing you a lifetime of setbacks. So come on in. Hello, everyone. If you want to be greeted, be sure to greet me in the chat. Hi, chat. Welcome. This thing is telling me that there are no people here. So we're going to wait for a while. I know it's been a minute. I haven't seen you guys. It's been some time. I am joining you live from Cape Town. So if you're new to the community, welcome. If you're not new, welcome back. I'm Ashley. On my channel, Ashley in Africa, I share my experience of living, moving, relocating, doing business here on the continent of Africa. And I currently am living in South Africa. I help people diversify their real estate and financial portfolios here on the continent with on the ground support, the way that smart money does, strategically, legally, and with boots on the ground strategy that most people don't even know exists. Okay, so if this type of content resonates with you, be sure to roll in, subscribe, share this video with someone that you would find value in it, that you think would find value. They'll be happy that you did. So welcome everyone. I'm looking for my phone so I can also greet people. Welcome. It's Sunday. It's one of the last Sundays of summer here in Cape Town. It was so beautiful today, guys. It was amazing, but I wanted to be here with you to share with you why your 5 year plan can be possibly your 5 year or lifetime setback. There's a lot happening, and I want to address what's happening. I want to answer questions. So, we're going to be answering questions, and we're also going to have a few people join us from the community to share their feedback of what's happening. So, hello, everyone. If you want to be greeted, I don't see anyone. I think that's the wrong thing to be looking at. So I'm going to come over here on YouTube and see what y'all are talking about. There's a lot happening geopolitically, economically, and these shifts are affecting us as Americans abroad all over the world. But specifically, if you have an interest in moving, relocating, investing, doing business here in South Africa, you want to make sure you join this live and share it with anyone else who would find interest. Hi, Roz. Thank you for joining. Thanks so much for joining. How is the sound? Because y'all see I have this mic on and I still don't know if it works. So let me know in the chat. Give me like a number 1 if the sound is amazing. Give me a number 2 if the sound could be better. Okay. Yes, Roz with the crown. Okay, sound is good. All right. Thanks, Roz. Okay. Amazing. So I know we're joining a little bit late. Okay. Fantastic. Wisdom says sound is good. Okay, perfect. I wonder if it's the mic. I hope it's the mic because I've been trying to bring this mic to you guys for weeks. So hopefully it's the mic and we're here and we're ready to talk about why your 5 year plan could be a lifetime setback. And this is not to discourage people. This is really to bring into focus what is happening geopolitically and economically so that we make sure that we're making informed decisions moving forward. Okay, so if you want to be greeted, say hello in the chat. Hey, Roz. There's 18 of us. Let's see. Oh, the likes are up to 14. Fantastic. Y'all are doing it. Y'all are doing it. Okay. Amazing. Okay, so I want to reintroduce myself, reintroduce the mission of this channel because there has been a lot of changes over time. We've been growing. Hello, Blair in Belgrade. Hello. Hello, doll. Yes, Blair in Belgrade. I love that name. I love it. Such a play on letters, right? I love that. So we've been growing, we've been transforming. The mission has stayed the same in the fact that we are focused on Africa growth for Africans by investment or entrepreneurship or both. right? Investment and entrepreneurship, or both. And so my core belief is that entrepreneurship is the gateway to economic freedom, economic independence, especially for folks on the African continent. And for people that are not on the African continent but want to be on the continent, it is our now opportunity to diversify ourselves physically and financially in an economy and economies that are growing, that are developing, and that welcome us, with intention. Okay, so we no longer have to be where we are tolerated. We can be where we are appreciated and valued. And based on the recent tensions that are happening, we need to really consider what that means for us as people that desire to live outside of our country. And if we have this plan or this mentality that, oh, my 5-year plan, my 10-year plan, I'm working towards relocating or retiring or making a move in 5 to 10 years, while those plans have allowed you a level of safety, probably and security, I'm here to tell you that you probably need to consider what it could look like if that 5 years to 10 years isn't an option. Okay, because with the way that geopolitics are changing and global economics are changing, that time may need to be accelerated, right? And so we're going to go into that now, just based on policy and foreign relations. Okay, so welcome everyone. Let me greet everyone. Hello, Jesse from Atlanta. Hi, Tana Rose. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining. Wisdom says, yes, Africa growth for Africans. Thank you, Miss Ashley. And I love your dress. Looking classy. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Can we all please get the likes up and share, support this valuable live? Thank you so much. Yes, 26 watching. We need at least 20 likes. Okay, we got 15 likes. So go ahead, like this video. Just like it. That part is free so that people come into this conversation, because we just had a group coaching session inside the Africa Investors Academy. It was very specific. Hopefully some of our members are going to join later to share with you what we talk about in those lives and how people are preparing now for their 5-year plan, right? They're accelerating themselves based on what is happening now, with the support of a like-minded community, with the support of insights, on the ground insights, and trusted advisors to make it happen, right? Legally, strategically, through legal support, immigration support, financial support, and strategic support, right, that I provide, as well as our advisors, so that they're making moves in an informed way and they're not taking 10 years to do so. Okay, so let's talk about these deteriorating relations, right? This is all coming at the helm of the reduced aid, the reduced investment, and the reduced influence of Western nations that have been traditionally influential and not so much returning the investment to these said African countries, right? So there is a lot of change happening, and this change is coming with consequence. Okay, and so this current South Africa US fractured relationship isn't a surprise. For me, this is kind of the last supper, so to speak, where South Africa is extending its diplomacy, it's extending its position on the relationship that it has with the US and other Western countries, to say, hey, listen, we need each other. We need each other. And, South Africa is doing so diplomatically that many of the world, especially those that are melanated, are like, is this necessary? And as someone on the ground, I see why each party is taking its position. I see why Trump is doing the things that Trump is doing, because Trump is Trump. But Trump is a clear example, a very unfiltered example of what America has been for centuries, is, and always has been. And the world is getting to see that based on the, you know, the personality of our current president. And so what people need to know that are in the US that don't necessarily agree with his policy is that he represents us as Americans, regardless of whether we agree or not. He represents us globally. And we have now an opportunity to speak up, speak out, but not in a way that is retaliatory, in a way that is maybe retreating for our best interests, to go to places and spaces where we're valued and we are seen, because we know that that's not the case in our home country, right? We're not valued, we're not seen, we're not considered. And while maybe there were times in history where we were, or it appeared that we were, the time is no longer now. And so we have an opportunity for those that have been financially responsible, that have been academically astute, that have been globally aware, that are listening to this video, right? You're listening here for a reason. It's because you know that ultimately what is happening is not on the up and up. It is not for forward progression. And the increasing presence of Eastern countries in Africa is showing that the Western influence is going away. And what does that mean? It means the Western currency, the power of said currency, the power of said influence is deteriorating. And so if you are making plans on a 5 to 10 year scale, you could potentially be putting yourself and your entire plans in a lifetime of regret. This is not to be fear-mongering or taking an approach of anything other than urgency being something that we should all consider. Because things are not changing for the better, let's say, in our home country, right? There is an increased hostility towards foreigners and immigrants and even people that are born and raised in the US. And so we just need to be considerate of that, right? What does that look like for our long-term plans, our long-term growth? And I think one of the things that we fail to think of as melanated people, even if you are so-called foundational Black American or so-called indigenous, if you are brown, you are forced to believe that you are a minority. And this belief system is somehow making us believe that what is happening to other brown people in our country and around the world could never happen to us. And even though we see it happening in our communities, we see it happening amongst our neighbors, we somehow have gotten to a place of disbelief that said situations can happen. And so now is the time where we need to be building alliances and reshaping our own economic and political dynamics, regardless of if our country or our said leadership decides to take it differently. Because as melanated people who desire to live abroad, especially on the continent of Africa, we need to recognize that the sins of our fathers, our forefathers, are coming to be reckoned with. And these countries, they're frustrated. They're over our imperialism and they're over us deciding or attempting to impose our belief systems, our governments, our policies. Okay. And so that just means things are changing, right? Long story short, things are changing. And this multipolar alliance that is happening in Africa, in my opinion, not even my opinion, in my view of what I'm seeing here on the ground, is that it's not going in the direction of the West. Okay, it's going in the direction of countries that want to see the growth of the continent, that want to see the growth of the African people, that want to see growth, that are no longer committed to the underdevelopment of African countries. Okay, so that was a lot. That was a big open. Welcome. I want to check the chat. I want to see how you guys are feeling. I know I said a lot, but I appreciate you guys. We have 43 people. Let's get it up to 40 likes. We've got 31 likes. Let's get it up to 40 likes. Welcome, everyone. Yes, amazing wisdom. I'm so happy you attended the 5-day challenge. I am so happy. So for everyone that's asking, how do I make money? What is the job? Even folks that are here living in different African countries, you can take your skill set and you can turn it into a 6-7 figure lifestyle, but you have to be willing to do the hard work. And Nani was excellent. If you got to experience the 5-day challenge, put the number 5 in the chat. I want to see how many people were able to join that. Yes, urgency and preparation is a must. Sharon says, I agree with you. The motherland is rising. It absolutely is. I was spending time with a family yesterday. There were so many people in this room, some South Africans, some Senegalese, some folks from Botswana, and even some folks from Europe. And, you know, gone are the days of people asking, oh, well, if America is the place to be, why are so many Africans coming to the continent? What Donald Trump is doing by creating such hostility for foreigners is also a gift, because the sentiment of young African leaders, young African youth, young African talent, they are educating here, they are building here, they are relocating here, even from the diaspora, because they recognize that the West is no longer a place of refuge, and it's no longer a place of advancement or opportunity. In fact, it's a place of scammery. It's a place of, where everything costs so much and it's hard to get ahead. And while you believe if you do the right thing, you're going to be taken care of or exalted, you're actually in a system that doesn't want to see you win, that actually is focused on keeping you in the system, so that freedom is not something you can experience. Ease is not something you can experience. Abundance, oh, you can forget that. No, you are fixated in a life of consumption. And for those that have been able to find their way out of that, even being in the system, kudos for sure. Because I do believe that that is also possible when you are very spiritually in tune and aligned. Young African youth and young African talent, they are deciding that it is no longer the West that holds their silver and gold. It is in fact educating and building in their home country or countries where they see economic growth on the African continent, so that they can participate in what is the most powerful continent of our generation. Okay. And so what are the hidden costs of staying put? Because we are convincing ourselves that the world is falling, that the world is going through challenges and genocide and bad things, cost of living increases. And yes, some of this is the case, right? Things have always gone up in price. So for anyone living in 2025, if you were living in 2022 or 2020, things didn't cost as much. If you were living in 1995, things didn't cost as much then. So what we need to know as people is things are always going to increase. It is not because of other people coming into your country. This is because the cost of living has always steadily increased. However, geopolitics has a big place to play in how financial markets change, how commodity prices change, fluctuate, and how currency changes and fluctuates. But when we stay put, focusing on everything else around us instead of what we are able to do, there is a real cost associated to that. Okay. And so when we talk about inflation, there is a 9.4% increase in food prices across the board, regardless of where you are, unless you are in a very food secure nation, like say Tanzania. I wouldn't say it's 9.4%, but there is an over 5% rise in housing costs. I'd say living here in Cape Town, that price of housing has across the board increased to about 30%. And this is based on tourism. This is based on tourism-driven real estate. And that's huge. And so for people that are saying, okay, I want to move, but I'm going to wait 5 to 10 years. In 1 year, the cost of living has increased for rent here in Cape Town upwards to 30%. What do you think that's going to look like in 5 years? That cost of your 5-year plan is going to put you in a position of a lifetime setback. Okay. And for those that are currently living here on the continent and you're waiting on investing in your own country, you're waiting on getting that bigger job, or you're waiting on getting to a specific age, acquiring a specific thing or person, you are foregoing the opportunity to invest in your country while prices are still available and commensurate for you and for you to access. Do not hand over your country to other people. Like, don't do that. It's one of the things that is so hard for me living in Cape Town, and I hear other South Africans say, oh, Cape Town is for those. Cape Town are for those people. Cape Town is in Africa. It's in South Africa. It's for South Africans. And while the pricing of real estate is going up, I am actively seeing South Africans take part in that. And so do that, because the cost of housing is only going to increase. While yes, we're working with clients that are building affordable housing projects, the cost of housing is going to steadily increase, and it's one of those things that has never decreased. Right? We've had the economic bubble that happened in real estate in the US, but what has happened in the US is not happening here in South Africa for a reason, because they don't overinflate their lending power. Okay. Hi, Sibusiso. Hello, Sharon. All right. Fantastic. 56 people in the chat. Go ahead and let's get this up to 50 likes. Okay, so the inflation, the housing costs, these are going to continue to go up. And so what is that going to do for you long term, right? So this savings and this saying, oh, I'm going to save more, I'm going to make more, I'm going to invest more, the likelihood of that actually being available to you in 5 to 10 years, it's possible, right? But you are foregoing the now based on the unknown. Okay, and so major life milestones, the impact on the American dream. This so-called American dream that we've been working so hard to attain now costs about $4.5 million. This is to own a home. This is to send a child to college. This is to have a wedding, right? Just those 3 major milestones on average are costing average Americans $4.4 million, which is why we're seeing a decrease in childbirth rates, a decrease in marriage, right? And a decrease in home ownership. And so if these are the things that you desire, but you're unable to do those in your home country, but you're sitting waiting thinking that prices are going to go down, oh, the Fed is going to decrease the interest rate, somehow making it more possible for you to purchase a home, even though right now the average home price is about $350,000. The average American is not going to be able to achieve that. And I'm not saying this is for the average American, let's be clear, because the average American is also not going to move abroad. I'm speaking to the above average American that has done all of the things, that has exceeded the expectation of family, that has exceeded the expectation of corporate, that has exceeded the expectation of academia, but is still left feeling uncomfortable, anxious, uneasy about their life success and their life journey. The fallacy of the 5-year plan is unpredictable, and it is for people unforeseen based on the geopolitical shifts that are happening. And I don't think people see exactly what is happening outside of the theatrics on your YouTube feed, your Instagram feed, or said CNN. This global shift, you guys hear me talk a lot about BRICS, right? And I'm going to open it up for questions too. This is going to be a dialogue I'm really excited about. But BRICS is not even a headliner because the actions are being made. We're seeing His Excellency Captain Ibrahim Traore discuss policy and economics with Russia. We're seeing these relationships with China become more intertwined continental wide, right? We're seeing the Western influence be pushed out in the Francophone nation. So we're seeing France being exiled from countries. We're seeing countries commit to foreign trade with their partners in their local currency. These geopolitical shifts don't give you an opportunity to say, oh, I'm going to wait for 10 years and for my Roth IRA to mature and for my pension to mature. No, the world is not waiting on your retirement to kick in. The world is not waiting for it to feel comfortable. The world is not waiting for governments to so-called release free land and free citizenship. What we don't understand is just because we may not agree with our current or our past political leadership, we are still seen as Americans that are choosing to stay in our environment that is benefiting from the imperialism that is pushed out. Even though we don't agree, we may not agree, and we may not share the same values as our political leadership, but we're compliant in our complacency, in our stagnation, in our just kind of sitting in that space. And that's a hard thing to swallow and to say, because even as I travel globally and I'm traveling to different countries, when I get to that immigration border and they see that blue passport, they don't see me as a Black American. They see me as an American under Trump leadership that feels a certain way about Africa based on the leadership's position, not on my personal position. So however they decide to interact with me in that one moment in time is not based on my character, the way that I'm showing up. It's based on the geopolitical position of the country that I reside in. And so I can deal with that, right? I can deal with that because I can understand the culture. I know how to greet. I know how to engage in a way that is respectful and compliant to the countries that I visit. But I understand that regardless of my personal beliefs, I am still aligned with the country that I hold citizenship with. And for many of us, that's okay. And that's something that we'll have forever, because I'm grateful to have been born in the US. And that's true, regardless of how I feel about where we are today. I'm grateful for that. But I also understand that my children's experience is going to be different because I made the move when I made the move 5 years ago. And so their ability to speak languages, speak African languages, relate to African culture, relate to children, regardless of where they're from on the continent, they're going to have a different experience and a different sentiment from their peers because they grew up here. And that's the cost. That's the cost of not waiting 10 years when it felt perfect or when it was perfect, so to speak, right? I hope that makes sense. Does that make sense? What are you guys saying in the chat? What are my thoughts on the strained relationship between the US and South Africa as well as other African countries? Yeah, I mean, Ty, I hope I'm saying it. Like, my thoughts are that America, the days of America imperialism are dwindling. America has shown who she is, but it's always been, right? It's always been. This is nothing new. The difference is South Africa is humbly putting themselves at the foot of the last reckoning. Like, what is happening? South Africa is diplomatically coming to America saying, hey, you know, we're your last hope. And the relationship that we have with you is has been a good one. It benefits you as well as it benefits us. And you need to know that. And you need to know that our relationship is one that is mutually beneficial. However, our peers or the future of this continent does not see things the same as we do as South Africa. And that is why I'm here in South Africa, because South Africa does have a great relationship with America today. But I also recognize that that relationship is changing. And I won't sit around with only one position to stay in a country that is literally ruining its foreign diplomacy um, for the long term. So those are my thoughts. And I think if you have a desire to move abroad, you have a desire to live on the continent, and that is South Africa, then waiting is not in your best interest. Your best bet is going to be to take action and invest and to do business on this continent now, alongside the other nearly 200 American companies that are already here in South Africa, and get an opportunity to see what not only South Africa, but other African countries provide to you and your children for your life's legacy. Because what we do know is that the top growing countries in the world, the top 9 growing countries, are in Africa, or the 9 of the top growing countries, fastest growing economies in the world, are based on the continent of Africa. And South Africa is basically the entryway into the rest of the continent from a financial business perspective, in my opinion, right? That's actually an Africa rhetoric. Okay, Ty, I hope that was helpful. All right, amazing. So now, yeah, so these are some of the ways that the financial losses, right? Real estate prices, perception of you and how you feel about government and your policy or your personal values, those things, inflation, right? Missed investment opportunities. These things are basically the things that can make your 5-year plan a complete lifetime setback. And you don't know what they look like when you're literally waiting for the next shoe to fall. The opportunity is basically to jump in. And so what we provide now in the academy are these insights. So there's some stuff I'm saying, and I'm saying a lot, but a lot more is typically said inside of our community. And so what we do inside of the community, we talk about not only this, we talk about timelines, we talk about visa assistance, long-term residency, how to make sure you secure that legally and strategically, investment strategies, a supportive community, because our community is so lit. We are not only talking about what's happening, but we're talking about what we're doing about it. Because we've been talking about what's happening, right? Black people, we always love to talk. And now we're actually taking action, right? And we're doing something about it in a community of people that are taking trips, discovery trips, right? We're taking discovery trips. We're investing in real estate. I'm so excited to welcome some of the members of the Academy here onto the call so that they can share their personal experiences with you all and how it's helped them in their journey, how it's fast-tracked their success. But ultimately, hopefully you can see yourself in one of these 3 ladies so that you essentially can be inspired to take action yourself, because we are opening enrollment into the Academy for a short period of time. I think through next week, we've got about 10 spots open. Members get access to all of our investment masterminds, from doing business and investing in Tanzania to South Africa, to Ghana and Kenya. But also, I think the biggest benefit is the community and our group coaching. So I'm going to invite the ladies up. I see ladies in the back. Hold on, let me. Hi, Simone. Hi, Latoya. Hi, Polly. Yay. Okay, Simone went off her camera. Amazing. Okay, so I don't know if I can hear you all. Let me see if I can turn this up. Okay, wait, that's the wrong thing to turn up. All right, welcome. So, oh, there Simone is. All right, welcome everyone. Thank y'all for joining so much. So we're just gonna get started. I just want to ask y'all some random questions, nothing really specific. I know we just got off of a really intense group coaching call. But Simone, will you tell a little bit about yourself, your journey? I think you've also been on a couple different channels, so some people might recognize you from coming on before, but share a bit of your journey and how you ended up in the academy and what it's been like for you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Ashley, for having me. And hello to everyone on the live. So my name's Simone. I'm from the U.S., born and raised, well, raised in New Jersey, born in California, but that's neither here nor there. So I actually came across Ashley's content because for quite some time I've been very much interested and repatriating to the continent. So initially, I was looking a lot at Ghana content, and then I know probably a lot of people on this call are familiar with Guatemala, and so I came across the Blantons, which they run a company called the Real South Africa. So started watching their content, and that's when my interest peaked with respect to South Africa. As far as repatriating, I've been to South Africa once on a trip to Cape Town, which is beautiful. Highly recommend visiting, spending time there. So I came across Ashley's YouTube page after watching the Blantons, and I don't know, just something resonated. Ashley's spirit, her mindset, just really it changed my mindset, particularly with respect to entrepreneurship. I'm not an entrepreneur by any stretch of the imagination. I'm actually in the field of medicine, so never really thought of myself as a business person, but just watching her content just really sparked in me this desire to think more from a business standpoint. So I joined her African Investors Academy actually over a year ago. And I have to be quite transparent. The first probably 9 months or so, I was not very active, although I participated and watched her Investor Academy summits that she had. So I was there for the first one, second one, and even the last one that she had. But I still wasn't very, active as far as formulating my own personal plan and journey with respect to, doing business on the continent. So fast forward to November of this past year, I mentioned the Real South Africa, and I know Ashley's partnering with them, so I don't feel bad bringing them up, but I just want to kind of give kind of context to how I ended up where I am right now, utilizing the community that Ashley has built. So my husband and I participated in the real estate tour that the Real South Africa hosts for the last couple of years. And so at that point, it was just kind of like my mind was just like completely transformed as far as getting real serious about taking advantage of and the opportunities. I mean, there's just so many. So I'm not going to get into all of it. But that trip really just reignited in me just like this desire and this focus. So after that, I really started to be very much committed to actively participating in the Investors Academy. And it's been one of the things that really I think is important for everyone to understand is from a community aspect, especially as African people. I don't know how many people on this call are of African descent, but I'm just going to say it that way. Community, regardless of whether you're talking about South Africa, Ghana, Kenya, the overwhelming throughway with all of those different cultures and countries is community. And having this community that Ashley has built has really kept me focused. It's connected me with the people that are really um, having an impact on my ability to move forward from a business standpoint. Kind of going back to the real estate tour, my husband and I decided to purchase two condos during that time, which we're in the process of finalizing, those purchases, and also with the understanding that we're really looking at real estate, particularly from a tourism standpoint. So we're actually going to be back in South Africa in July. I definitely want to take a look at the Durban market, and definitely looking forward to Ashley's summit in Zanzibar, because Zanzibar has always been on my radar just from a visiting and tourism, but definitely now with this shift in my mindset, looking at the investment opportunities in Zanzibar. So I just want to really just reiterate that it's really important, particularly when you're talking about moving in a different trajectory with your life and building a business. It's really, really important to have a community of people who are going to help to guide you, who, you can garner, that extra drive, that extra push to stay, on message, on target with whatever your goals and objectives are. So that's really just the biggest value and being a part of Ashley's community it is the community. I mean, you can't go. What is the? I think it's an African proverb. If you want to go fast, go by yourself. If you want to go far, you know, go with a community. And so, if you're really looking long term to transform your life um, and the lives of those who are connected to you, you really got to get yourself together with a community and build that tribe that is going to push you forward and guide you.
Mm. Thanks, Simone. Oh, I'm back here getting a little teary-eyed. What is one of the things you can say that you feel like has been the biggest benefit, right? Because you talked about a lot. You talked about the community, the accountability, the information. But out of those things, what do you feel like is the best part of being a member of the community?
I mean, really getting connected with the professionals that you require in order to do that. I mentioned that, we're in the process of finalizing purchasing real estate in Johannesburg. And so working with Yolinda, who, is your partner, has really made that process much less like nerve wracking and stressful, because you have a vetted a professional who's going to have your best interest at heart, who's going to lay out everything for you so you understand all of the ins and outs of what that purchase looks like. And just having that resource and not having to just try to figure it out yourself and just randomly find somebody off of the internet and hope that they're going to do what they say they're going to do. That's invaluable, and that's just one kind of hard and fast example. You have so many different professionals depending on which industry you're looking at that is really going to help um, you know, um, complete, or what's the word I'm looking for? To essentially, whatever business that you're trying to build, execute. That's the word I'm looking for. Connecting with the people that are going to help to execute whatever your plan and process is invaluable to be able to have that, and to have someone like Ashley who has already built relationships and has established that these are people that are who they say they are and do what they say they're going to do, which unfortunately is a lot of kind of the apprehension that, I personally see just in talking with people who, are, knowing about what, we're doing and what our plans are. And it's always, well, is it on the up and up? It's always this notion of people being scammed and all this other, foolishness and nonsense. But, having having a set place where you can be connected with the professionals that you need in order to execute your business plan is really, to me, the most valuable thing for me thus far.
Awesome. Thank you, Simone. I really appreciate it. Yeah, because there's a lot of I know there's a lot of chatter, and I don't really engage in the sensationalized content around the continent or Africa, but the folks that we work with, like, we've taken serious time to make sure that people do what they say they do, and they do it with a level of excellence. And so I love that you're having a beautiful experience with you, Linda, my partner with Skyline Attorney Realtors. So many people are finding value. I'm meeting people like when I'm out and about, and they're like, yeah, we work with Skyline. And so I love that you're having that. Any like final words? Because I'm so like hype about all of the members that showed up to show out for us today. But any like final words that you want to share with people that have been considering, right? Saying, like, oh, I'm thinking about doing this thing, but I don't know really if it's right now, if the time is right, or if it's a right fit. What would you tell them?
Yeah. Well, first I would say I was that person not that long ago that was, watching and hoping and wishing and thinking about maybe, one day I'll do this. Um, to I'm going to do it. I am doing it, and these are the steps that I need to take in order to do this process and do it properly and do it in the right way. So what I would say is that it all starts with the mindset, and only you can refocus what your own personal mindset is. Until that's in the right direction, you can watch all the content in the world, you can, watch, do all of those things until your mind is made up and your mind is set that this is what I'm being led to do. Then the action comes. And for me, I'm just speaking just personally. Like I mentioned, I was watching for actually a few years of watching content, and until I'm not sure exactly, I can't really pinpoint when the switch just shifted. I think part of it was just things shifting and us deciding that, okay, we're going on the trip. Not, oh, I hope to get there one day. I think I saw somebody comment that, they hope one day to travel to Afrika. And it reminded me of this term I came across, nomo. It's an African term which essentially signifies the power of the word to generate and create reality. So if you want to visit the continent, then you need to speak it as if you are going to visit the continent and when you're going to do it. If you want to do business, it's the power is in the word. So if you want to do business, it's not, oh, I hope or I wish or maybe one day. It's, I intend to create ABC business on the continent. Because once you start to speak it as if it is, then your actions will follow. So I think that would be, my biggest um, takeaway personally,
Yeah.
um, because really the action isn't going to start until the mind has shifted and the mind has been made up.
That was so good. Thank you, Simone.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing. Do feel free to hang out.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm gonna bring up Polly next. Thanks, Polly, for joining. You're on mute.
Okay, now I am with the people. Hello. It is all coming together. But
Yes. Hi, Polly.
hi.
I'm so like pumped. I'm keeping it cool, but I'm like, y'all really showed up. Yes. So will you tell people a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what you do, and then how you ended up in the Africa Investors Academy?
Sure. Okay, so I'm Polly. I am from Chicago and then Houston, where I raised my family. And I retired from the city and I am a broker in Houston, Texas. So I found out about Ashley through the Real South Africa. So I took a trip with them, a couple of real estate tours, brought my family. And that's one of the things, getting out of the bubble, you get a chance to kind of relax and see some things differently. So I encourage everyone. I know that there are a couple of things coming up with Ashley. Please check it out on the Zanzibar and also in Johannesburg. Um, but one of the things that I would say that kind of really piqued my interest was that they're coming out, it's like you're living out loud a little bit. Here we have to be so cautious. In my first life, we were doing so many things that we're just so careful and you know, you're protective. But once you kind of step outside, it's different. It's like night and day. Coming into the Investors Academy, there was a chance for us to kind of be of like minds, like minds, and then growing and everything that I had experienced and thought about. Because once you do go and take a trip to South Africa, you're going to start thinking about things in a whole nother light. And you want to stay in community with people that have, you know, the same like minds, same like, you know, intentions. And that's what it was, finding out about the group with Ashley. Now, let's be clear. I did not know anything about the Investors Academy, and I was a little skeptical about joining, just because I didn't know that much about it. After speaking with Dr. B and some other people, yes, this I'm so glad that I listened. I'm so glad that I joined, because that particular vacation allowed me to do some internal reflection personally and professionally. So I think that even like now, getting a chance to come in and just share like some of the things that I've experienced within the academy is that you actually get a chance to not only invest in yourself, but just that personal growth. And it's a culture that I think the pot started cooking like with gumbo when you first go on that trip, and then you're starting to recognizing all the tools and the things that not only what you need for growth, but your children, your family, what is like, you know, needed. When I joined the Investors Academy, it kind of puts a lot of things together, and you start understanding how investing in yourself, um, the positive encouragement, the suggestions, everybody in the academy is having that same similar the growth mindset, and knowing that we need to do some things. Is having that support system and that inclusion, that we get a chance to support each other personally and through business. And that's like one of the best things that I would say within the academy. They're not only just suggestions and things that we receive or that I have received um, from Ashley, but just that walk. We are actually living this thing out loud and able to grow from the mistakes that were made and shared and doing business abroad. And I'm really like looking forward to everything that's coming. I really am.
Amazing. Oh, Polly. That's so great. No, I really appreciate you. And even sharing that skepticism too, right? At first, it was, you know, you weren't really sure, and then you have been able to find a lot of value. And when we do talk about the business stuff, we also get to talk about, you know, just personal things that we've experienced. I get to share my experience of things personally that I don't feel comfortable sharing, because we need a safe space to commune and to converse and to share the strategies that aren't on the websites, right? Because when it comes to deciding to do business, migrate, relocate, purchase real estate, there are things online, but it's so different than just having access to a WhatsApp group or a Facebook group or YouTube channel. It's like, no, these are real life things happening, and then members are sharing their experiences of what they've experienced. And some people, when they, you know, graduate to said country, or even after they're in the country, they're sharing their experience with other people to help them from having the same challenges that they've had. If there's one thing you could tell a person, right? So they watch the free content, they want to know, like, what is the difference between the free content? I'll just watch the YouTube videos and I'll get what I need from there. What would you tell them?
You know, the free information, you know, it's fine. However, there's a thing about investing in yourself and stepping out and going further with the information, because it's just like a little bit. I mean, it's just such a small amount, but you don't really realize it because you don't know the things that you don't know. But when you get in community, you'll find out, okay, various issues about translating what your business may look like from the States as to moving it abroad or even starting something. And that goes from the aspect of just business. It could also go from, you know, with your children, with the education aspect of it, and kind of putting all those things together that you may have heard or you thought about or experienced on one of your trips to South Africa, and just getting to know the culture, the community, or whatever. You really find that within this culture, this community, that Ashley has kind of put together, it's kind of a way to bring about that help or those strategies that you didn't know you need until you needed it. Navigating a lot of the pitfalls that we kind of experience, just because you don't know. And sometimes you're scared to invest in somebody else's knowledge, but that investment is just so, it can make or break a lot of the mishaps that you may have. And I don't know about others, but when you're going to another country, you need that guidance, you need those relationships, you need that fellowship, and you need the positive encouragement and suggestions that just help you navigate those things. I think that, you know, even when we were, you know, vacationing, and I call it famcationing because the trips that we took, they were so eye-opening as far as what life could be like and what it would be like abroad. There is also the same thing on this Investors Academy. The things you think you know, you really don't. The skepticism, the things that you may have about, you know, just trying to complete business transactions, moving abroad. I mean, I've fostered some great relationships within the academy. There are a lot of things that I would say meeting good people. I too had a good experience with Yolanda and learning about other opportunities, business opportunities, just navigating some of the things that translate different, especially in my field, in real estate. Those things transfer a little bit differently of handling that type of business abroad. And different doesn't mean that that you won't get it, but you just need to know what to expect and managing those expectations. And then you're really surprised at just how a lot of things are so much better once you kind of get a chance to do a little bit of back and forth and banter. Like I said, it's okay to do the video, and it's okay to look and see some of the things that are posted, but it's better when it's interactive and it's in real time and you're getting that guidance. And a lot of times she touches on not just your business side, but also navigating the family side of moving and getting things going when you're trying to go abroad. Or even, I would say, anyone who is thinking about just having, if you're excellent in your business, then you've had a coach sometime in your life. So this is a time that you also need to invest in yourself and be that person that you would like to be, as far as going out and getting a coach for yourself. If you talk about it, then you need to also be about it.
Ooh, that's good. That's good. So, can you share maybe some results, some of the things, maybe tangibles? So, for somebody that's like, okay, I hear you talking, I hear you come to these meetings, but what have you really gotten out of this membership in this academy? What are some things that you're like, had it not been for the academy, or had it not been for this community, I wouldn't be here, or I wouldn't have gotten this experience?
Okay, so within the academy, there are certain clarities that were provided to me as far as when you're doing business abroad. Things just operate differently, and a lot of times we may assume certain things are the same, or certain words and phrases mean the same thing, but they're completely different when you're abroad. Um, there are several opportunities that are being posted and talked about that are in the academy. Some are real estate, some are business opportunities, things that you can actually look at in real time and keep abreast, because you got to keep in mind that the things that we're hearing on regular YouTube or whatever venue you use to get your news from is completely different once you have somebody to kind of filter through all the nonsense. And that's what I think that this does. It goes through and it filters through all the nonsense, and it actually focuses up my attention on the steps and the things that I need to do, and how we need to move. And you get the reality of it, not from some other person, but people with like minds. You get that same reality. Everybody won't get a chance to go to the cookout, but over here it's a cookout.
That part.
That part right there. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Polly, so much. Thank you. I'll bring you back up if you decide to hang out for a little bit. But I want to give someone else a chance to share. Thank you so much for sharing. Roz or Latoya, when you're ready, turn on your camera and then I'll bring you ladies up. Thanks, Roz, so much. Oh, okay. Y'all both came on so quick. Okay. So we've opened the community so people can join. We're only taking 10 members. We're a very intentional group, and like I love our community right now. We're about 30 members, but with about an active 6 consistently. So we're opening up 10 spots. And so if you're interested in joining and having the experience that the ladies are having, you definitely want to join us before those 10 spots are taken. We're closing enrollment at the end of this month to just help people prepare for trips. So you heard the ladies talk. We are having and hosting a group of folks in Johannesburg, September 1st through the 11th. We may be extending that so we can get some folks down to Cape Town for Afro Wine Week, hosted by Zuri Wines. But we'll talk a little bit more about that. So join, yes, if you're serious about taking action, because policy is changing, immigration relations are changing. Laws are changing, tax law is changing, and those are the things that we talk about, like when we're having our conversations bi-weekly, right? So you also get all of the past events. We've had the master classes around traveling, moving, doing business, investing in different African countries, and then you get a like-minded community as well as your own roadmap, because all of these ladies had a different experience when it came down to filing for their visas or investing in their real estate. Everybody's taking a different journey, but the beauty is that everybody gets to share their experience and feel seen, feel heard, feel supported by other members of the community. So I'm going to bring you up, Roz. Hi, Roz.
Hi, Ashley. Hi, community. Hi, everybody. Hello.
Yes, thank you so much for joining. So, Roz, it's been some time. You've been in the community for a minute, and I'm so like excited for you because you've reached one of the biggest benchmarks and actually filing now for your long term, for your permit, for your visa. And when we met, you were just kind of getting things together. So can you talk a little bit about who you are, what you do, and how you found yourself in the Africa Investors Academy?
Yes. Very interesting how they say when you're seeking information, things will just come in alignment for you. And at the time, I like Simone had mentioned, I went through the Real South Africa with Mark and Dr. Latasha Blanton, and I went on the tour. And then initially, next time I went on the real estate tour, and that's what I see in the chat. Maddie, I saw that she put in there, and she moved. Congratulations, because she was on that real estate tour with me at the time, and we were looking all at properties in the Johannesburg area. And then from there, it was another member in that real estate group that I connected with, and she was the one who told me about Ashley, and that Ashley had this community group. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, I heard of Ashley before and I've seen her on YouTube. But then also another community group I'm in, which is Stephanie Perry's groups. I actually had joined one of her summits that year, and Ashley was a main speaker. And it was so interesting because a lot of the other members who were speaking were mostly talking about Europe or some places in Asia, but Ashley was the only speaker at that time that was talking about Africa, and preferably South Africa region. And I said, oh, wow. And I said, okay, I need to connect with her. So once my friend, she told me about her being in the group, and she said, you should join, just check it out. And I said, okay. I joined, and I have been there ever since. And the reason I've been there ever since, there have been times where I may not have been as active, but there are times now, especially now, I've been active um, just about every month. But the summits that she provide in the group as well, these are groups with different leadership in their own subject matter experts. Um, they come and provide different information to us, so they're well vetted, and we could connect with them after the summit. Then also um, just the group coaching calls where we connect with other members, and we encourage each other, like, because it's not an easy task to try to do. I had set a itinerary when I first started going to Johannesburg. I said, I'm giving myself a 10-year retirement plan. So that was a couple years ago. Now, I said, well, maybe it's going to be 5, right? Not now, but but since the recent stuff that happened, I'm going to be very transparent and honest. That happened since late last year. Has accelerated a lot of things. And for me, it's accelerates kind of like an eye-opening experience to say, hey, I think we should start putting all these things into place now. It's good you're getting the information. It's good that you are finding out what you need to do along the process of your business, the process of real estate. However, you need to start taking thorough action. And for me, taking thorough action was applying for my visa, and getting over that mental hump, like, can I really do this? Or is it possible? What would my family think? Or any other things that I might have that could hold me back. Being in this group has helped me go forward and saying, okay, I could do this, and being encouraged to do so. As people know, there's a lot of changes going on. Let's keep it honest and keep it real. There was this report that came out, especially with the federal government jobs. I bring it up because I have been in the federal government space. I've been in the military space. A lot of changes are happening. And candidly, a lot more of our people in the diaspora are going to be affected by that. At a time when having the federal, especially a federal government job, was deemed as secure, and the only thing you could be really let go from that job is if you were really doing something really awful as a part of maybe criminal or just being subordinate. nowadays they're finding any kind of reason just to let you go, and it has been affecting. The numbers show that there have been a lot more African American women, or maybe women of Caribbean diaspora as well, that live in America, have been affected by this layoff within this new administration. So I say to say that not to put fear or to evoke some kind of like fear, because I know there's a lot of fear mongering as well when you look on the news and everything of that nature. But I would say that definitely sorry, I got a little distracted. Definitely take action now. Today is better than not taking it at all. It's never too late. And if you want to look for a group that will help you along those processes, whether it is getting connected to when you get your boots on the ground, or whether it's maybe looking into setting up your business or connecting with people, you could do that through her group. I mean, I got me a bank account set up in South Africa as well. I have, like I said, getting my visa. So there's a lot of things that you may not be able to find that information online, or just in general going through different videos. So it's always good to have that group setting. I think I covered everything.
That was good. Thanks, Roz. I appreciate you so much. Because you did. Excuse me. You covered a lot. So really, if anybody has any questions, you told them everything that they need to know. But you said it all. Like, if they are teeter-tottering, they need to take action now, sooner than later. I mean, you said all of the things. What's the, I'd say, biggest takeaway that you've gotten since being in the community now, that you feel like otherwise you probably wouldn't have experienced?
Repeat that again. You kind of broke up. What was the takeaway you said?
Your biggest takeaway from being a member of the academy that you feel like was very unique to you being a part of the academy?
I would say that the biggest takeaway for me is that you have to take action. For me, is you could get all the information there is. However, if you don't take those steps, or if you don't have the mindset, as Ms. Simone had mentioned earlier as well, it's not going to get done. And at this time, it's better to have a safety net than not to have one at all. And for me, being in this group and consistently hearing the success stories, consistently seeing people that are going to support us along the way in any aspect of what we're trying to do has been very helpful, and the biggest takeaway for me to get to those goals of success.
Amazing. Thanks, Roz. I'm gonna bring y'all back up in a little bit because everybody's hanging out. So there can be like a cool little round table. And then if anybody is interested and you have questions, get ready. I'm gonna open it up to you. I'm gonna share the link. So if you have questions you want to ask me or different members of the academy, I'm gonna open it up in a minute. But thanks, Roz. And then I'm gonna bring up Latoya, our newest member of the academy. Hi, Latoya. Welcome.
Thank you, Ashley. Hello, everyone.
Thank you so much for joining.
You're very welcome. I'll be brief. Simply, we're visiting a loved one in the hospital, but God is good. We're in good space. But I just would be remiss if I didn't jump on and just speak a few words about how I feel like the Academy has been so beneficial. The three previous speakers have said so many things. I will just reiterate. I won't regurgitate. And underscore, for me, the big takeaway has been having the community of expertise and resources, because what we are all facing is too many stretches of the imagination. It's unprecedented. So it's normal and understandable if you feel anxious or unsure, or how do I go about that, because this is also new and it's changing every day. But I would say that this community of people led by Ashley has been such a center stone of resources for you to ask questions, for you to get vetted information, the experts as they have already shared, so that you really have the best information for you to make your decision. So there's no pressure of, oh, you have to repatriate or you have to. Everybody's going to make their own different decisions because you all have your own set of unique circumstances. But I think what's been very beneficial is just to know that there's so many options. And so it's been very freeing and liberating to know, like, wow, like there's so many things you could do. You don't have to just be stuck with one option. There's so many choices. And for you to have the expert guidance to make the best decision for you and your family. The other thing I would say from an entrepreneurial standpoint, so I have a vending machine business. And I would say just being part of the community, there's like a door within a door within a door that you get to experience that you would not have had access to otherwise. So for me, being able to meet Nani, who has the Scaling Accelerator program that some of you have talked about and joined, has been tremendous in helping my business and just seeing new possibilities. Then I met another coach through that. So I have been richly blessed in terms of just the access that it provides that you're not going to get just by watching YouTube. You can only get so much for free, right? So you do have to make an investment to get the good stuff. And I would just encourage you, if it's something you've been considering, to try it and see it for yourself. I don't think I have, any regrets. And I would certainly encourage you to do it sooner rather than later so that you can get the best information for you and your family. So actually, I'll leave it there.
Thanks, Latoya. I appreciate you. And we're sending love to you and your family. And I just appreciate you showing up and sharing your experience. And I'm excited for us to get on our next call about your next steps in getting your visa sorted. So I'll be talking to you this week. So yeah, thank you for sharing and showing your experience with the community. I really appreciate it. All right. Amazing. Wow. So if you guys have any questions, let me know in the chat. A lot of feedback, a lot of affirmation. Jonathan X says no excuses. So yeah, you guys are hearing it. I'm gonna bring all of the ladies back up to share. Polly and Roz. Let's make this a little bit more. Nope. Okay, perfect. If you have any questions and you want to come up, I've shared the link in the chat. We've got 10 spots open for you to join us in the community. We do bi-weekly coaching sessions. So we had one today that was quite powerful. They're always really, really good. They're always really good. And then in addition to that, you get all of the like tangible resources. But I think what most of the ladies shared is those group coachings. They hit different. They hit a whole lot different because you're essentially in community with like-minded people that you don't have to talk, you don't have to convince. You're like listening to Simone, who's purchasing her second, third property. Polly, who's getting her children enrolled in university. Roz, who is submitting her application for her retirement visa, right? Latoya, who's building her location independent business. So everybody's at different stages in their journey, but they're in community with people that are doing the thing that they're doing. So we don't have any people coming up and asking questions. No questions. So I'll ask a question to the ladies and anybody can share. So for people that are like, okay, I'm done with this country. I want to just get up and go right now.
Slow down. Slow down. Yes, we understand the urgency, but there are some steps. And I think sometimes one step back will let you go a few steps forward as far as getting in with that community and navigating those steps to move abroad. And, I know everyone is frustrated. I mean, it's a lot going on here, but that should be your motivation to get into community with those that understand some of the things that you're dealing with, going through, and are on the other side of it.
That's good.
Yeah, I'll piggyback on that. Definitely don't do it because you're going to be right back in, wherever you originated from.
Mm-hmm.
You have to plan. Certainly, 5-10 year plan for many of us is gone way out the window just because of the environment that we all find ourselves in. But at the end of the day, you still have to have a plan, and you have to visit first. You can't just watch videos and say, "Oh, that looks great. That looks beautiful. That looks wonderful. I'm going there." You have to visit. You have to put your feet on the ground. You have to feel the people. You have to figure out what resonates with you. Because like it's been said, it's so many options, and from countries, even in South Africa, there's so many so many options as far as areas to live, but also so many countries just on the continent in general. So I don't want it to be as if, South Africa is like the only option. There are so many different options, but it all starts with, at least first, you have to take a trip. You have to go visit whatever place is calling your name and spend some time there and see, is it a good fit? And then if it is, start building those connections with people that are going to help guide you through the process of moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. So we have a question now. So Sean Williams asks, how much should I save before I just make the move? I think Simone even answered some of that already in her.
You'll plow right through a savings account. So you have to get that long-term, whether it's retirement, pension, benefits, annuity, something like that. And then you also want to be able to sustain yourself while you're learning and getting those relationships together and being able to build. I just wouldn't say I can save this amount of money and now I'm going to be okay, because you have the same recipe. You've got inflation, you've got changes, you've got different things that are coming there. I think what we're really saying is that taking the time now and getting in community now may actually bring that plan that you have wanting to move abroad into fruition a lot sooner, even though it feels like you're taking steps back. Just navigating that. So no, there's no set dollar amount that you need. You just need to have consistency, or in the business where you want to say, some cash flow.
You got to have the cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have something set up that is bringing you monthly revenue. That is, one, because that's the only way you're going to get a visa anyway, is to have a consistent amount of income, or a large amount of income near the $1 million mark, right? I think it's like, for the financial independent visa, what is it, 27 million rand, which is, let's see, 1.5 million. To be able to have that in assets, right? Like, not real estate, but near liquid level assets, to be able to qualify for that financial independence visa. So yeah, you need your cash flow. And if you were paying attention, or if you're in the community, you can go ahead and go check out those 5-day to 50K challenge videos that our other member of the academy led. So if you've got a 5-figure, 6-figure income right now, high 5 figures, maybe I'm saying 85,000. If you're making more than $85,000 a year, you have a skill set that can help you to generate 6 figures to 7 figures a year from wherever you are. So you then have an opportunity to set up a cash flow system for your freedom abroad, basically, or anywhere in the world. But you have to have an income coming in, one, to qualify for a visa, but two, to feel financially confident in order to take action. And so to Polly's point, savings, you're going to go right through that. But even if you are making an income, you need to have, at least in my opinion, it's always 3 months to 12 months of savings on reserve. So if you're single, you're making money, 3 months. If you're a family, you got children, 6 to 12 months, because things can happen and financial expectations change. You want a holiday, you want to move about like a tourist for the first few months, which I recommend. You want to be able to have that level of cushion so that you can enjoy this journey, because it is not an easy road. This is not for everybody. And I'm not inviting everybody to join. We're inviting action takers, people that have had a level of financial discipline, that have an awareness of what's happening, right? Not people that need to be convinced, or not people that are waiting on, I was about to say something a little derogatory because it's Sunday, but people that are agency owned critical thinkers that see that the next generation of growth is not necessarily happening in their backyard. And they want to give themselves and their families an advantage, a position that allows them to take part in this global transformation that is happening. And that's not everybody, and that's okay. Any other questions, guys? King Rain says investing is crucial in our survival globally. I wish everyone good luck. Fantastic. Amazing. All right, ladies, I appreciate you giving your Sunday to everyone here to answer their questions. If you have any other questions and you're catching the replay, feel free to leave them in the comments. I or one of the ladies may respond and answer your questions, but I want y'all to enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I'm so grateful to see all of y'all, and you all came after our group coaching. Simone said, of course we would show up. I appreciate you all. And everyone here has traveled and is going to travel again with the Real South Africa. So if you want to be a part of that next trip, we're hosting folks in Johannesburg, September 1st to the 10th. So that link will be in the description below. You'll be joining us with the Real South Africa, experiencing what life was like for me in Joburg, even when I'm there, because I was just there 2 weeks ago. Get to see the things that I'm doing in Joburg, the places that I frequent, what life could look like for you, and then get to experience the culture, the richness, the divine food. Amazing. The spas, the shopping, with the Real South Africa in Johannesburg in September. Right? Otherwise, we want to see you in the academy. So go ahead and take one of the 10 spots that are available from now until next Saturday, the 31st. I think we're going to close enrollment then. And you get to join this amazing group of high executing excellence is in their DNA, but also they are en route to their softer lives filled with more ease on the continent of Africa, specifically in South Africa, to invest and continue to do business in their new African country. So any last words, ladies, before we depart?
Yes, I would say take the best way, even though we can tell you so many different things, take the trip. Take the trip. It's eye-opening. And then they're going to cater to your needs, period. And for some of us, that's a completely different experience than a lot of vacations that we have previously been on. And then when you're on this particular one, especially a tour that's coming up in September, it's going to even be more than that, more than just that vacation, more because you're going to learn so much. You're going to see so much. And then when you join the academy, you're going to start processing everything that you've learned and seen. And whether it be like for my example, for business, for family, you're going to really you're going to enjoy it. You're really going to enjoy it. But it's going to start with that initial trip. And it's not just taking a trip with anybody, because anybody can put you on a plane and tell you to go stay here or there. But it's actually curating that trip for you and your family, and making sure, because my family has enjoyed every bit of the process. And I think I'm getting that same energy and that same high, enjoying everything I'm learning inside the academy.
Thanks, Polly.
I will echo that. Definitely for me, like I mentioned, taking the trip this past November really just solidified it for me. I mean, just to give it, put a little cherry on the top. So I actually ran into Ashley while I was in Johannesburg, not by intention. And Johannesburg is a very big place. So for me, when I turned my head, when I was sitting there having dinner and I saw Ashley sitting literally at the table next to me, I was like, that's it. Like, that was my confirmation. Like, this, I'm doing the right thing. I'm not in some pie in the sky fairy tale land. Like, this is real. And what I'm thinking, what is in my spirit is real. And I look to my right and I'm just like, okay, now it's time to be serious. It's time to get serious. It's time to stop watching. It's time to start doing. And so if you've been watching for some time, it's time to start doing and start with a trip. It doesn't have to be South Africa. It can be whichever country you are interested in, but the time is now. And that's
That part.
Yeah, that part right there. You know, it's good seeing all y'all. You meet them, it's really good and seeing that. Y'all can tell me now. Well, I'm not online a lot. Actually, not at all. So this is like, you know, really new. So if my focus is looking down or looking up, y'all forgive that because this is new.
Another thing I just want to mention about participating, particularly in the academy and getting serious and participating in the calls, which I think there was a question about how often they are, twice a month. Making a commitment to sign on, take part, even if I'm not having anything particularly new between the calls, it really has helped me personally stay focused and not get distracted by all the different things that are around us. You know, a lot of people are very anxious, and not to say that it's unwarranted, but I haven't really been experiencing that anxiety because I'm so connected with this community that it has kept me razor focused on what the end goal is, to where all the other stuff happening around me, yes, I'm aware of it, but I'm not absorbing it. I went to this event, I spoke at this event the other weekend, and there was a mental health therapist there, and he framed it in a way that just really just like, okay, just clicked. Because I've been doing it, but when he verbalized it, I was just like, that's it. And he talked about energy. And essentially there's energy that we should be observing. And then there's energy that we should be absorbing. So when I'm in the community, I am absorbing all of the energy from these beautiful women that are regularly participating in the calls, and all that energy that's going on around us in the space that we find ourselves living in. I'm just observing it. And so I would encourage all of you to take that, because when he said that, I was like, okay, I got it. And that's it going forward. If it's not feeding me, if it's not positive, if it's not heading towards some sort of freedom and liberation, I'm just going to observe that energy. And so if this resonates with you, definitely do not hesitate. Just do it. The dollar amount, and not to be in anybody's pocket, because I know everybody's situation is different, but the investment is going to pay dividends. It really is. Because it really personally has transformed my life.
Agreed.
Agree.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Simone. Andrietta also sends their thanks. Thank you for sharing your experiences and advice. As Addie asked, how often do we meet? We meet on the second and last Sunday of each month, which it's like, I think we just moved it down to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They were a bit early, so we're moving it so that more people can join, especially our folks on the PST and Central Time. But yeah, I think that y'all have really shared so much. I'm also like, you know, thrilled, honored is really the word, to hold space and to be able to have created this community for women like you and our other folks that join that aren't necessarily maybe as open, right? They're a bit camera shy because everybody doesn't get the level of support in this journey as some of the ladies that have shown up, or even, you know, if they haven't gotten the support, the community has provided them with the support so that they feel strong enough and courageous enough to share with other people. And so I just feel so honored to be the physical host of this space, while this is not me. This is all like God, ancestors, guides moving through me to hold this space. And I recognize that with full humility. But I'm just honored to see you all, to be here when you show up for yourself, and to be able to provide whatever insights that I am able to provide in the space that you all are really finding valuable and taking it. Everybody in here is taking action, making moves. Yeah, and this is what I envisioned when we started this community, and you all are really about that life as investors, right? Like, so it's not just the relocation, the migration. Everyone here is putting their money where their mouth is to invest and do business in South Africa. Some of our members are doing so in other parts of the continent, in different African countries. But no, it just warms my heart to be able to share and be in community with you ladies. So yes, Roz.
Can I just add to, I know we all talked about South Africa, and but Ashley also does have community members that are interested in Kenya, that are interested in Ghana, Tanzania, even Mauritius, which is I feel like a little small kept secret off the coast, and so many other places in Africa. So you're not just limited to just South Africa itself, the Republic of South Africa. There are options. And if you feel like maybe South Africa is not for you for any particular reason, do feel free that in this group, you will get the resources and the information to explore other places in the continent of Africa. But please do look at Africa, because Africa is really going to be pivotal in the next 20 years as far as advancement technology, agriculture, and any other different type of businesses that the Western world has already claimed stake to. So I just wanted to share that.
Awesome. Thanks, Roz. All right, ladies, I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much for joining me today in the group coaching and for the live session over on YouTube. So I will see y'all inside the Discord, but also, yeah, in a couple weeks.
Right.
Yes.
All right.
Here.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone. Wow. So that's on that, guys. These ladies, they shared with you their experience, what they've been able to achieve. Many of them came in, right, with a 10-year plan, maybe a 15-year plan. We'll see how things happen. And everyone is in South Africa this year, or has already been in South Africa this year, or has been and will be again, right, for their investment trips, for their permanent migration and relocation. So yeah, you've heard it here. So if you have any more questions, do feel free to leave them in the chat, in the comments for the replay. Thank you for joining us for this live. All of the links to join us, we'll have 10 spots. I think we've had 2 enrollments thus far already on live. So we've got about 8 spots left to join us in the Academy before enrollment closes for the season. And then if you want to join us in Johannesburg this September 1st through the 10th, 11th, you can click the link to join us live and in person in South Africa this fall, right? Fall for y'all. It will be going into summer here in sunny South Africa. We would love to have you. Be sure to, connect with us and take action now. This is the best time you could ever do so. There are so many opportunities happening, but more than opportunities, a better life is awaiting you. A life where you are valued, not just tolerated, a life where you can live out in your fullness and your freedom and your blackness and your femininity and your masculinity without having to adhere to a system that acknowledges none of the above, right? And so, whatever you've been waiting for, whatever timing you've been thinking of, now feels about right. And I promise you, you won't regret it. We do have, guarantees and money back guarantees if you don't get the experience that you're looking for. If you do the work, right? If you show up to the sessions, you take the actions we require of you in the community, you do the work, you will get results. Okay. And so, all is waiting is you, right? All is waiting is for you to take that action. All right. CJ says he's about to get his life. Get your life, CJ. All right. Okay, everyone. So please click the links in the description. I'll pin the comment below for you to get enrolled, I think, into the last 8 spots of the Academy. But until the next time, I'll see you soon.